My wife wants a separation. Is there ever coming back from a trial separation? My 39M wife, 34F, have been together for almost 8 years, married for 4. Without going into a ton of background, she has lost a lot of family recently from either death or estrangement. She always has felt she has no family to turn to and is all alone. We moved states to be able to afford a house in 2021 and she hates it here since we haven't really made any friends and her workplace is extremely toxic, adding to her stress. Before we met she wandered and was impulsive and would move on a whim. Now she feels stuck in our tiny house and living situation. She has expressed these feelings often, and while I fully support her well-being, I know I'm not always enough. We try to take trips often to escape, but I've always mentioned to her if she ever felt the need to take a solo trip when feeling impulsive, I would stay behind to care for our dogs and house. 2 weeks ago she booked a trip back to CO to visit old friends and stay alone in the mountains to grieve by herself for her losses over the past year. I was completely for it until the day before she left. I could tell something was bothering her, and when I pressed, she said that she feels we need a separation. My heart absolutely sank. Not only do I feel I've failed as a partner, but I'm so nervous about what that means going forward if divorce happens with the house, our dogs, etc. After she left I noticed she left her wedding ring behind, and it pretty much killed any hopes she still viewed our marriage as something to save. As for the separation, we live in a small 2-bed house. There's nowhere to escape and be alone when one wants privacy. While I mostly work from home and get my me time, she rarely has the opportunity. We also don't have the funds for one of us to rent an apartment to truly be separated. So back to my original question, is there ever any hope to mending a marriage when one person wants a trial separation? I asked if we could try counseling, which she didn't oppose, but she's always been skeptical of therapists and counselors. I'm in a bad place right now, especially since she told me before she left, leaving me home by myself for 4 days not knowing what the future holds. Update. First off, thank you for the many of you who had kind words through posts and direct messages. It certainly helped allowing me to vent and get my thoughts out. Since it's been a few days since most of these comments, I can't remember everything that was asked or touched on, but I wanted to catch you all up to speed to the last few days. We did speak throughout the weekend through text and a couple calls. I also had a couple of our mutual friends reach out when they learned of the news, as she used them as her outlet and source of advice, having gone through their own separations. We had a Saturday night call where she was alone at the condo and was extremely low. I kept making sure she was safe, but she assured me she would never hurt herself as she has too much she needs to accomplish and prove. Sunday was a better day for her, running the trails and attending a big event in Vail. Finally on Monday night I picked her up around 11 p.m. but we were too exhausted to speak and she passed out as soon as her head hit the pillow. Tuesday after work, we had a couple hours worth of good discussion. It felt good to be able to speak openly about a lot of things. She was able to explain her motivations a little more. All her life she was told she couldn't do something or couldn't succeed. Her parents were either absent or manipulative. She feels she has something to prove by herself. I don't fully understand why she feels the need to do it on her own without her partner, and I may never understand this. She brought up codependency and how, especially after moving to Florida, we lost who we were as individuals. We do everything together since we don't have any friends here. Also, having the one car, we feel obligated to never leave without the other. I thoroughly enjoy our activities together, but I get her point. We did lose ourselves in each other, pushing aside hobbies and friends. This is something I know we need to figure out. Her plans for sure include moving back to CO, whatever that timeline looks like. She speaks of them as referring to her doing it alone and figuring out jobs and living situation. Not going to lie, this hurts hearing, but I went along with it as I'm here to be supportive. In a month, when her realtor friend returns from Vaki, we're going to put our house up for sale. What the next moves afterwards are, I have no idea whether I will be a part of them or not, and this scares the shit out of me. Having more flexibility at work and a support system of family, I've decided to leave for 2 weeks starting this weekend. I'm going to buy a car and first head up to my parents' place in NC, then either my sister's or another relative. At this point I know I'll need to come home to recharge, see my dogs, sleep in my own bed, etc. I told her this plan and that if she needs to be away from me she'll need to find her own spot for however long. This didn't go well and she took it as I was kicking her out. I love living with her and don't mind sharing the space, but I had to set a boundary. This was something she wants and I can't be the one leaving my own home indefinitely. I had to revisit this topic and tell her I'm not kicking her out, just that I don't want to have to leave my home and comfort. She said she reacted because of the reality setting in, that she has no one or nowhere to go. She does have a couple people that would take her in for a short duration if necessary, but she is full of self-doubt and abandonment issues. As for living together currently, we are still sleeping in the same bed, though now we're clothed/pajamas, no cuddling, no kissing, maybe get a hug once a day. It's so hard to turn off the switch like this as I'm a very affectionate person. Touch/physical contact is my love language. So to that end I'm scared as to what that means our living situation will be like. Is this healthy? Would me having a car, leaving for a couple weeks then coming back and vowing to live separate but still interconnected lives work? Or do we need to absolutely move away from each other in order to heal? I've reached out to my organization's mental health line and got to spill my guts. They set me up with a marriage therapist. My wife was referred to one by a coworker. We still have so much to work through. I go through highs and lows, the not sleeping thing is weighing me down though. I just hope and pray that this is something we can work through and she's able to heal however she needs without moving across the country. Best case I see is we continue to grow for our own selves until we can sell the house and move together and continue our lives back in the state we fell in love with each other.